Hello, everyone. Before we get started, we're just going to wait a couple more minutes for some other people to trickle in, and then I will kick us off. All right, it looks like we had a few more people join us, so we will get started. So as I said, hello and welcome to today's webinar. Today we will be covering the second and last webinar in our Enhancing the Value of our Sparkrock Solution webinar series. Today's topic is Microsoft Power BI enabled reporting. So my name is Jane Soper. I'm the marketing specialist here at Sparkrock, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. So just before we get started, I do have a couple of housekeeping items that I'd like to go over. Firstly, as you can see, all attendees are in listen only mode. So if you have any technical problems throughout the webinar, just let us know by clicking in that questions or chat feature on the right hand of your GoToWebinar control panel. It should be on the right hand of your screen there. And that brings me to my next point. We will be holding a Q&A at the end of the webinar. So if you have any questions that come to your mind during the demo today, please submit them in the same place on the right hand of your screen and they'll be addressed at the end. And last but not least, this is being recorded today, so not to worry if you miss anything. We will send you a copy of the recording within 48 business hours, in addition to this presentation deck. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce today's speakers, myself, Jane Soper right there, and we have Brenda Neveu. Brenda is our Power BI solution architect, and she is a computer programmer with over 16 years of experience working in the K-12 environment. And for the past 4 years, Brenda was responsible for building, supporting, and managing the process systems and outputs that supported the publication of data visualizations as a means to tell the story of our schools and educational systems leveraging the Power BI platform. So definitely she is well qualified to give our demo for us today. With that, I'm just going to say thank you, Brenda, so much for taking the time out of your day to present this demo. Really looking forward to it. I'll pass the screen over to you so you can take it away.
Thanks, Jane. I'm just waiting here to share my screen. Oh, here we go.
Perfect.
And are you seeing my Business Central screen?
Yep, looks great.
All right. All right. Hello to everybody. It's morning on the West Coast, but good afternoon to the rest of you. I'm in British Columbia, so I was in the Surrey School District, the largest district in British Columbia, like Jane said, for about 16 years. So been playing with school data for many years, but branching out now into finance and HR. And so with that, I'm going to get started. This is a little Power BI report right here. And I just wanted to show that it is interactive with the data that you have on your screen. So if I zoom in here, I can see that this is the map of Canada. And if I were to go to one of the other companies, you would see that it's going to go to their location. I'm going to start today and look at some of the other Power BI reports that we have. So you can see on this drop-down box, and if you don't see this Power BI report, it's under Actions and then Display. And then you would just click Show or Hide Power BI Reports. So with that, I'm going to show that there's an expand, previous report, next report. You can manage the reports. And under select, I'm going to just clear the filter, and I will start with some finance schedules. So I'm going to go back and forth between finance and human resources just to show you the array of Power BI reports, and I want to make sure that you don't lose interest. So by popping back and forth, there'll be something of interest for you, hopefully. This is our some information from the Business Central. So what I've done is I've pulled in all of the dimensions and GL accounts for a company. And Power BI is interactive. So if I wanted to see here under other travel, what like where it fell, so it's under function name, payroll administration, but I can see all the different function codes and panel codes and center codes. Everybody uses all of the different dimensions in Business Central, so it's nice to be able to have a place where you can go in and just look for particular information. You see all the filters on the side. There's some that say filters on this visual, some say filters on the page, and then down below you'll also see down on all pages. So what I can do is I can click into any of the visuals. If I want to look at this one, then it's going to show me the fields that are in that visual, and then I can do a filter on that. So if I wanted to see, just AP trade, I could filter it out that way. I'm going to see all the entry numbers of my GL accounts, GL entries. So all of that information would be at your fingertips then. And I'm just going to clear that filter with the little clear button. So now this is for the education side. We have ministry schedules in Ontario that are required. I've formulated them. So this is just to give you an overview on how we can actually, make something customized for you. What this is showing is instruction, administration, transportation. You can see all the different categories along the side here. And then above, salaries and wages and benefits. This isn't real data. This is all sample data that I've been using. Let's see if I can scroll this back up. So if I wanted only to see, the elementary schools, I could do that. I'm going to scroll back up to the top. So this would just show elementary if I wanted to see just the secondary side of things, or maybe I wanted to see just elementary and secondary. By holding control, I can select both. You can see that it, everything is populating up top there. And then I'll just click on one of them and that will clear that filter. Then you have details. If I wanted to drill down maybe a little deeper on the rental expense here, I can see that it's expense category 5508 at 63,000 is the GL account number, to give you deeper, dive into your data. There's also on some of the reports, discrepancy reports. 6609, there wasn't a column and cell for that information, so it's showing down below, and it's going to give you the entry number. That just to give you an easy way to go back in and take a look at, if things are coded properly. Power BI really just gives you a good opportunity to go in and take a look and see where your data is. So you'll see like there's a schedule 10 total and then the discrepancies and then the total. So all of that would add up for you. You could also, if you just wanted to see special ed, you could see special ed. So when you're, if you're not a school board and you're a nonprofit of another type, you can think of, using these filters maybe by department or maybe by a union or a position code. So you can have filters that relate to, what would be of interest to you. So I'm going to go back to where we started. I can select another report here, but I also wanted to show you that you can go directly into Power BI. And I have some favorites marked here. And so we were just in the finance schedules. So I can click through this way, or I can go back into Business Central and select reports that way. I'll just go into our HR schedules here. So this one, also for a school district, also for the ministry, but something that's really relates to everybody, I would think. Here we have pay steps, and then we have, the different grade codes that employees may have. We're looking at just elementary teachers right now, but if we wanted to change that and add QP, we could add, so that's another union, we could add that in here as well. And then you can, see who's got 5 years of experience under A2, and that information would show up down below. So a lot of our schedules customized and meeting the requirements of, maybe your financial supporters or the ministry. So things that are customized, they're available in Power BI. So this one is location details. This is showing a school district. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Put this in as a full screen. So this is showing you like a full district. If I wanted to zero in on a particular school, at that school, I could see that who the principal is. I could see all of the employees, what their roles are. We have elementary teachers, we have custodians, QP members, early childhood educators. It's, I think, the gender breakdown was working for here. So in the school district itself, it's 25% male and 75% female. If I go back to the school, I can see that there's 29 employees. The active FTE is 27.67, and the average number of years with your district or with your company is 5.38 years. This just breaks it down by all of the different positions and their active FTE. You can just hover over it and take a look. It also gives you just a pay grid count here. If I wanted to export any of this information, I can just click on in the inside of any visual, and you'll see these 3 little dots show up that give you more options. Some of it is to spotlight it so that you can only see that visual. If I want to unspotlight it, and then maybe I want to export the data, it gives you an option of exporting to Excel or CSV format. And if you export, and then it just comes up in a table format in Excel. So it's going to open up here. And so it's just in a table format, and then you can use the Excel file as you wish. So the employee by years is showing you that number of years is 1. You've got 3 employees that are pretty new to your company. And at 10 years, 10 or more years, you've got 10 employees. It also breaks down the FTE by assignment. So you can see that at the school, it's elementary school. So I have 12.6 elementary teachers, 1 principal. And once again, this would relate to any of your company information. So I'm going to go to the next page. So I'll just pull that down. You can go a little deeper in to your categories if you wanted to see your custodians throughout your company. You can pull all that out. It'll give you the head counts and everything for that, show you the breakdown of gender, and a lot of them are repetitive information or repetitive types of graphs, but showing you information in a different light. So this is QP 10 month. Then you have all your GL accounts below. So if you selected a union and then you selected a GL account that you wanted to see, it would show you the employees in that section. It also has address, city, postal code. You can see that this is test data. Everybody's living at the same place. And so you can do the same with the benefits. I can see here that there's, this employee's at has three different benefit categories. It would bring up your eligibility dates. Or I could maybe just want to take a look at all of the employees that are in a certain benefit group and find that out. The nice part about Power BI is that you can bring information in from more than one area. So all of your demographics, the employee's address, phone number, email address may all be in one table. Their assignment codes might be in another table, their union information in another table. So when you're in Business Central, typically you only see the data that's in the one table. With Power BI, I can pull in the employee and their address from the one table. I can pull in their union, I can pull in their benefits and their assignments, their FTE, and marry them all together and have a chart to show you that data. So very flexible. You can also add Excel files. Power BI pulls in data from everywhere nowadays, hundreds of different areas you can get online web pages. At the Surrey School District, we used a lot of the student information systems. So I would pull in, the head counts at the schools, and then check with the staffing and be able to take a look at that data. And with Power BI, you can set it up to refresh once a day. So some of the information was stagnant for us at the Surrey School District, like the student information system. We only pulled in the data once a day. So we would run that at midnight, and then Power BI would be set up to run at 8 o'clock in the morning. So when you got to work, all of the data would be fresh for that day, but it would be yesterday's data. When you're live, like with Business Central, you can set it up to refresh on the hour every hour. And no more downloading, no more having to, download from one place and upload from another. It speaks directly to Business Central 365. So I think the last, I was just going to show maybe one more on here. Oh, no, it's not this one, sorry. Yeah, and then just the unions here. So I am going to go back and go to the HR schedules. Now this one would show you like the steps in the pay and the, I think I started with this one, didn't I? Yeah, so sorry, just to pause here. I'm gonna go into one that all this data is just mocked up, but it gives you an idea of some of the visuals that are available in Power BI. So this is a map of all of the projects that a company may have. On the side, we could, go by donor, and let's just select one donor here. And you would be able to see that donor is funding projects, in certain areas. Giving that data, down below, and showing you all the information. You have here, you can see where the number of farmers, the average revenue, training per farmer, and number of hectares, and you can watch the growth go across inside the graph. With the donors, we have, so I've just selected one here. This would show you who your largest donor is, down to your smallest donors. If you select one, you can see what their commitment type is and what their budget is. If you hover over, it's 2 million out of the almost $8 million budget is from this one company. Down below is the donor information, so the contact information, the phone number, the city that they're at, and the email address. And then you would have all of their different projects, what cities they're in, what countries, and how, if the project is 93% complete or if it's 22% complete, and of that, what the budget is. So, here you can say that the, project is 69% complete, but they've only spent 45% of their budget. So this tells a story for anybody going in to take a look. Whereas this one, they've spent more than what they should have at this budget point. With the project timeline, you can, map the different timelines. So these are all of the companies. I'm just going to select a few here so we can take a look. And I can scroll across for September and see when all of the companies are slowly going to be finishing up their project. So, one's going into January of 2022 and when they all started as well. It would give a company an indication that, right now they've got, quite a few projects on the go, but by, March, they're going to be down to 3 and it's time to expand in certain areas. And so just a little more data on the project. So this one I wanted to show you, this is a matrix visual. So right now you're seeing the country. You do see the little plus signs that you can select, and you can drill into the city, the name of the project. That would be the start date. Or you can use these arrows on the bottom, and it will automatically expand all of them for you. And if I go back up, there's also another option, and that would just go down by 1. So that one would just bring me the city information. This would just give me the project information, and you can see how it's all populating above there. And once again, when you see the 3 dots, you're given the option to export. You can also show it as a table, so it'll just open it up on another page for you. This one has a time filter. So right now, it's just showing the projects that are going to be ending in March of 2021. So I'm just going to bring that one back up. And so I can stretch this out to show, projects that are going to be ending, in certain quarters or certain year. So if I wanted to go for 2021, you'd be able to go in and check the budgets, their expenditure to date, the project completion, and the budget. So. And the revenue, now this is, when I was in Surrey, I often put in a fish tank and found that after, people have been watching a PowerPoint or something for a while, that a fish tank often, catches their attention again. So that's what I'm doing here. I do have a captive audience, I think, and it's nice to wake you up every once in a while. So what you'll see is if I hover over this one, that this project is 130% over. So it's a very large shark. All the ones that you can see that have flipped over and that are floating to the top, if I hover over them, they're all under budget. So they're not the ones that we're concerned with. We're concerned more with the ones that have gone over budget here. So if I click on one, it's going to give me the different information listed on the side here. And then we have the expenditures where we can go in and take a look at, different companies. This is the overall company expenditure. But if we zoom in on, one project, it's going to reflect all of the data below. So we'll see what their travel expenditures are and their vehicle, their revenue to date, and any other, any other visuals that you would want on here, and you can customize it for your needs. And then I'm going to go to the Sparkrock sample. So this is flipping back now to human resources and flipping now to back to a school. This is the active FTE, the number of employees, full-time equivalent. And you can see that the different schools have different FTEs equivalent. So this Meadows Public, they have a principal here. If I click in, I can see they've got a 2.0 FTE for their caretaker. They've got their principal information, occasional teacher, secretary, temporary position here. And I could, you can drill down a little further if you needed to know John's position code and employee number. You'd be able to see that, because there's two principals that would, really give you time to figure out, now is John and Samantha both active at that school, because typically you only have the one principal. So you'd be able to go in and take a look at your data. Maybe Samantha's about to leave and John's coming in, and there's a bit of overlap, and that's why it's showing two employees. There may be a missing end date, so it looks like one of them is still active and they aren't. So just a great way of going in and checking out your data and seeing how everything looks. I'm going to go to employee attendance. So I've only got 3 employees here, but I've given them lots of sick days, to make our visual interesting. There's a daily breakdown, so you can see that. Oops, I just clicked that. Sorry. So you can see on Monday there's 350 hours that they've called in absent. On Thursdays, 308. When you have rich data, lots of employees off, this really starts telling a story on, if there's a particular day of the week that you have the most absences. There's a breakdown then on your sick leave. You would have your jury duty, your education leave, and your bereavement here. If I needed to see, when people were off on education leave, I can see that if I hover over this, that on July 2nd and 3rd, one of these 2 employees was off. So if I look over here, I can see that 10,008. So that was Caitlin was off on those 2 days, and Jake was off on those 3 days for an education leave. And then let's click off on that. I'm going to just click on Samantha's so we can see on the calendar all her sick days. And having worked with HR, they're often looking for, patterns or, certain days of the month. We lived in Surrey, we lived right at the border to the state. So on Black Friday, we would notice that we'd have a real abundance of absences. And by mapping it, we could go back year after year for some of our employees and find out that every Black Friday they were taking it off. And it ended up that the superintendent sent out a letter saying, it's probably not a good thing to do because we'll be watching you this year. Also here you can see that there is a sequence here that every 3rd Monday this employee is taking off, so maybe they had a specialist appointment that they were going to every 3rd Monday. And then on this side here, we have sequential absences. So I'm just going to click on this, and it shows you the employee and the number of absences. So, you can see, I think this one I just put in, this person was gone for 175 days. So that's Jake here. But this one, I can see that they were off for 16 days in a row. If I click it, I can see, when those days were. Something that, when you have a lot of employees and you need to, take a look, you can sort this by, the highest, lowest. In any of the fields, you can do that. So if you wanted events, so it's showing it each event for each employee. So if I go by employee number, you can see that this employee had 3 events, this one had 9 events, and this one had 1 event. So a good way of just taking a peek at your employee information and then being able to go in. So if I looked at a particular day and if I wanted to see who was away on Friday, you can right click on that and it's going to bring you up all of the people that were missing on a particular Friday. So if I had a time filter on here, then when I did that, we could, I think if I went by May and I wanted to see who was off, I could, narrow it down to just, oh, that's not going to do it for me. I need an actual filter on the page. And then you could go in and have a breakdown. So the example of Black Friday, I could go in and take a look at who was missing on that day. And so how are we doing for time? I think we have a few more minutes.
Yeah, we
We
have
do.
10 more. You got
Okay.
10 more.
All right. Well, I can keep talking. So yeah,
If
I'll
you wanted to
probably,
wrap up earlier, no worries.
yeah. I'll show a few more dashboards here, and then I think we can wrap up and give us a little
Perfect.
bit more time if there's any questions. So
Sounds good.
yeah, thanks. So this is just a map of some of the vendors. You can see that down here, everybody looks like they're in Canada. This map is by postal code, and because the postal code isn't entered or the city isn't entered, it's just trying to guess at where your employees are. So a good way of going in, cleaning up your data, taking a look to make sure everybody, I know with the students information, we always had to make sure for our October 31st or September 30th ministry deadlines that all of the kids had postal codes. Maybe you need this information for a mail out. A good way of going in and taking a look to see if everybody's got their data in here. You can also do these filters up here. So I'm going to type in Miss up here, and it's going to show me Mississauga in here 3 times. I think it's one of those cities that may be spelled incorrectly more often than not. So you can, take a look at those kind of issues with your data. Maybe it's spelling errors. And there's also filters by purchase amounts. If I needed to see just who is in a certain range of purchases, I can do that. So I think the vendor breakdown, this works very similar to the one that we had shown for employees, where you can go in and, break down. You've got Edmonton, you have a consultant there, what their payments are, and down below we can look at their purchases. And so you can see I've got vendor name on here twice, so I can delete that off there. And then it'll show me my balance. And if I click that, yeah, the balance will pop up. All right. Okay. Well, you know what? Maybe we'll stop here, and that'll give us some time to have some questions for the last few minutes.
Sure,
And
that sounds
yeah.
great.
All right.
Perfect. All right. I am going to share my screen with you all. And let's just make sure that you can see the proper thing. Okay. All right. From here. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
And you see everything all right? Okay, great. Whoops. There we go. Okay, everyone. So as you can see on the screen, I'm just gonna spend a couple more minutes before we move to Q&A, just going over a few more slides with you all. One thing that I do want to go over with you is our new Power BI bundles, so our new package services. It is worth mentioning right off the bat that these Power BI bundles are designed for our SparkRock 365 customers. It's definitely possible to create something similar for our SparkRock 2016 customers, but some of the pricing and other specifics might differ slightly. So just as a little context before I tell you about the options. So as you can see, we have 3 customized distinct offers here available. Firstly, we have the one-time option, which is a one-time creation of a Power BI dashboard. And, this is perfect for those who want to kind of test drive the dashboard before taking a deeper dive in. And purchases of a one-time starter packages are rebated towards purchase of any subscription package. So it will count as one dashboard and 4 visuals towards a package. And we're also offering a subscription package, which provides access to a defined built-in level of features on a yearly basis. So this option also includes ongoing creation to a number of Power BI dashboards every year, plus ongoing support, training, and modifications on a basic level. And lastly, this bundle will provide you access to a predefined existing set of dashboards and visuals as they become available. So last but not least is our custom package, and this is our a la carte approach to our most customizable option. There's a minimum requirement of 10 custom dashboards and 40 custom visuals to use this option, and all capabilities for this bundle are tailored on a per customer basis. So like I said, highly customizable. It's a great option if you know you kind of want to play around and customize a little bit for yourself and your own organization. And if anybody has any more questions about the Power BI bundles, I will touch on later on how to contact us and get more information about this later on. So where to go from here? Contact your customer service representative, or feel free to email us, that email that you see on the screen there, connect@sparkrock.com, and schedule a Power BI assessment. So we'll help you define how the Power BI platform can be used to benefit your organization as an individual. We're here to help you in any way we can. And like I said, reach out using that email. We're also available by phone if you'd rather talk to us there. Another thing I want to mention is this is the second webinar in our series. The first one was the Microsoft Power Platform Potential, which is now available on demand on our website. I have the link here. I will be sharing this PowerPoint deck with you all as soon as we wrap up. And inside the deck is a hyperlink to that on-demand webinar. It is the first in the series and provides some great context for what we're learning here today. So I highly recommend checking that out if you haven't already had a chance. And that brings us to the Q&A. So I'm just going to take a moment to see if we had any questions come in and see what we have. Okay. Looks like we have some trouble seeing my screen. So Brenda, can you see my screen right now?
Yeah, I can.
You can see it. Okay, we do have a few people who can't see it. So I am going to go back a couple slides and just see a quick message here in different and see if that helps for anyone that's watching today, just to see if we can. And if anybody that sent a message through saying that they can't see it, if you guys wouldn't mind just sending a quick note and letting me know if you can, in fact, see the screen right now, then I will, I'll make sure to move along. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Well, it does look like we might be having some technical difficulties with our screen sharing. I think it appears that people are still seeing view Brenda's screen right now. So um, what I might do is just move to a Q&A. And like I said, because we're having some technical difficulties here and you guys can't see the where to go from here slides and the package bundle slides, I will send that through to you in an email with all of the details. And and if you have any questions after that, then we'll be able to help you. Let me just review. Oh, it looks like we did have one more question come in. This one might be for you, Brenda. Someone would just like to know, how is the Power BI reporting different from JetHub reporting?
Yeah, great question. I wasn't familiar with Jet when I started with Power BI. Jet is a great tool that can be used, for Excel, for you to be able to, pull in the data yourself and, make changes. Power BI, I think the best part about it is that it's any of those Jet reports that I've converted, like the schedules that I showed, they are automatically populated. You don't have to go in and hit refresh. And the information is just waiting for you there at all times. Jet has a great way of structuring the data, and Power BI can structure it and exporting it into an Excel file as well. So yeah, there's pros and cons. Power BI, I think if you're going to be using Power BI for a lot of different reasons, it would be, being able to go in and look at your employee data and your, union data and stuff like that, then having it all in one place is, would be ideal.
That's wonderful. Perfect. Okay, let me just review to see if we have any more questions come in. So we did get a really helpful comment actually from someone in regards to not being able to see the screen. It was recommended that if you hit the refresh button, everything gets reset and works. So if anyone's having some trouble seeing the screen, feel free to do that now. Although we are coming to the end of our webinar today. So after that, last but not least, I just want to say thank you very much to everyone who joined us today. And as I mentioned earlier, any more questions that you have, or if you want to get in contact with us about the demo that Brenda shared with us today, or the Power BI bundles, just reach out to us using the connect@sparkrock.com email or the phone number you see on the screen there, 416-516-0050. And there's always someone that's willing to chat with you and help you out. So if there's no more questions that are going to come through that we have, I will wrap up for us today. But I just want to say thank you all so much again for joining us. And Brenda, thank you so much for not only that wonderful demo, but for helping us out with the questions today.
Yeah, and thank you all for attending. That's awesome. Great number today.
Yeah, great number. We'll talk to you all soon. Have a good one.